The sun was low in the alien sky, casting long golden shadows across the quiet village. Strange plants with glowing leaves swayed in the wind, and small creatures darted between them. A human traveler walked slowly down the narrow path, his boots crunching softly on the pale blue sand. He had come a long way, crossing deserts and mountains on this alien world, looking for nothing in particular but guided by curiosity. His name was Daniel, though here, far from Earth, names meant little. To the villagers who lived on this planet, he was simply the outsider. They had seen him pass before, carrying a pack on his back, eyes always searching. Some smiled, some stared with suspicion, but none spoke much to him. Humans were rare here, and trust was harder still. As Daniel reached the edge of the village, he noticed something unusual. An old alien woman sat outside her home. Her skin was pale green, wrinkled like folded paper, and her eyes were large and bright, glowing softly in the dim light. She was dressed in simple robes, a shawl wrapped around her thin shoulders. In her hand she held a small basket. Inside it lay a row of strange cookies, each one round and glowing faintly as if they carried light within. Daniel slowed his steps. He had learned long ago that in strange places small details mattered. Food could be poison, gifts could be traps. Yet the old woman looked harmless. She raised her hand and motioned for him to come closer. "You look tired, traveler," she said in a soft voice. Her words were not Earth's language, but Daniel had a small translator pinned to his collar. The device hummed and the meaning appeared in his ears. "Sit, rest, share a bite." Daniel hesitated. He had never spoken to her before. In fact, he had avoided contact with most villagers. But something about her calm smile made him pause. Slowly, he stepped forward, lowering his pack to the ground. The old woman reached into her basket and pulled out one of the glowing cookies. She held it out to him with both hands as though it was a sacred offering. The cookie looked strange, round, slightly cracked, glowing with a soft green light and giving off a smell both sweet and sharp, like honey mixed with smoke. Daniel frowned. "What is it?" he asked. The old woman smiled. "A treat, my gift. Eat and you will see." His instincts told him to refuse, but his curiosity whispered louder. What harm could one small cookie do? He had eaten stranger things in his travels, though none had looked quite like this. Slowly, carefully, Daniel reached out and took it. The cookie was warm in his hand, almost alive, as though it pulsed with a heartbeat. He looked at the woman. Her eyes never left his face, calm and patient, waiting. Daniel took a small bite. The taste exploded in his mouth. Sweet, bitter, hot, and cold, all at once. It was unlike anything he had ever eaten. For a moment, it felt wrong, like biting into fire, and he almost spit it out. But then a strange comfort spread through his chest. The taste became smooth, delicious, addictive. Without thinking, he finished the rest of the cookie in 2 more bites. The woman nodded slowly. "Good, good." Daniel swallowed, wiping crumbs from his lips. "Strange," he muttered. And then he felt it. At first, it was only warmth spreading through his body. Then it grew stronger, moving through his veins like liquid fire. His skin tingled, and for a moment he thought he saw faint lines glowing across his arms, like tiny alien symbols written beneath his skin. His heart raced and his breath came faster. What was that?" Daniel gasped. The old woman only smiled, as if she knew a secret he did not. She looked past him toward the horizon where shadows were gathering. Her voice was calm, but her words carried weight. "You have eaten what was not meant for you. The cookie is old, older than you can imagine. It holds power, and now that power is inside you." Daniel stared at her, shocked. He wanted to demand answers, but before he could speak, he noticed something else. Villagers were watching from a distance, their eyes wide. Some whispered, some pointed, others backed away as though afraid of him. He clenched his fists. His body still burned, and the glowing lines under his skin flickered brighter for a moment before fading again. He looked at the old woman, but she simply closed her eyes as if her part was done. Daniel's world had just shifted. A simple gift, a harmless cookie, had turned into something much more, something dangerous, and deep inside him a single thought echoed like a warning bell. This was only the beginning. The night came quickly on the alien world. The twin moons rose high, throwing silver light across the village. Strange insects sang from the glowing trees, and the air was cool and heavy with mist. Daniel lay awake inside the small shelter he had found, staring at the ceiling. His body was restless, the cookie still burned inside him. It had been hours since the old alien woman gave it to him, but the taste lingered on his tongue. Sweet and smoky, it would not leave. More than the taste, it was the feeling. His chest throbbed, his arms tingled, and sometimes a faint light flickered under his skin like fireflies trapped beneath his flesh. Daniel sat up and looked at his hands. For a moment he saw it again. Lines glowing faintly, shaping symbols he did not recognize. They pulsed once, then faded as if they had never been there. He rubbed his eyes, wondering if it was only his imagination, but deep down he knew it was real. He stood and stepped outside. The village was quiet. A few houses had lights glowing inside, but most were dark. The air carried the smell of smoke and wet earth. He walked slowly down the path, his boots crunching against the sand. Then he noticed it. A pair of alien villagers were standing at the corner, watching him. Their eyes were wide, glowing faintly in the moonlight. When Daniel looked back at them, they whispered to each other and quickly turned away. Another villager carrying a basket froze when she saw him and hurried into her house, slamming the door. Daniel's heart sank. They had seen something. He moved to a small pond at the edge of the village and knelt beside the water. The surface reflected his face, but it was not the same face he had seen all his life. His eyes looked brighter, sharper, and faint symbols glowed faintly across his cheek and neck before fading again. Daniel touched the marks, but there was nothing on his skin. Only the light remained like invisible ink. "What is happening to me?" he whispered. A sudden sound behind him made him spin. Something had moved in the trees. The bushes shook and a shadow darted out of sight. He narrowed his eyes, gripping the small blade he carried on his belt. For a long moment he listened. Only silence followed. Then he heard the whisper, not a normal whisper. It was inside his head, soft and distant, like a voice carried by the wind. The words were strange, alien, yet the meaning reached him. Chosen. Chosen. Daniel's blood ran cold. He staggered back from the pond, scanning the shadows. No one was there, but the voice had been clear. His breath quickened. He wanted to return to the old woman, demand answers, but her house was dark now. Her door was shut and no light came from inside. She was gone, or asleep, or maybe she had expected this all along. Daniel clenched his fists. The strange power inside him was growing stronger. His body felt light, almost weightless, as if he could leap across the village with a single step. His senses sharpened. He could hear the flutter of insect wings far away, smell the smoke of a fire on the wind. But along with this power came fear. What if the cookie was poison? What if it was slowly changing him into something not human? The villagers already looked at him with fear. If the changes became stronger, would they drive him out or worse? Daniel walked back toward his shelter, but every shadow seemed alive now. He saw movements where there were none, heard whispers in the rustle of leaves. Sleep was impossible. Hours passed, and finally the first light of dawn touched the horizon. Daniel stepped outside again, hoping the day would bring answers. Instead, it brought something else. A figure was waiting for him near the well in the center of the village. She was tall, her skin pale like her grandmother's but smooth, glowing faintly in the morning light. Her eyes were sharp and bright and her long hair shimmered like silver. She was young, beautiful, and serious. She looked directly at Daniel. Her lips parted as though she already knew the truth. "You ate it," she whispered. Daniel froze. The gorgeous granddaughter had arrived. The morning light spread slowly across the alien village, painting the houses with a golden glow. The mist lifted from the ground and the sound of distant birds filled the air. Daniel stood still near the center well, his heart pounding as he stared at the young woman before him. She was unlike anyone he had seen on this world. Her skin was pale and smooth, almost shining under the sun, her long silver hair falling like a river over her shoulders. Her eyes glowed faintly, deep and sharp, carrying both kindness and danger. She looked at Daniel as if she had known him forever, and yet as if she did not wish to see him at all. Daniel opened his mouth to speak, but she raised her hand. "You ate it," she said again, her voice soft but heavy with meaning. Daniel frowned. "The cookie, yes. Your grandmother gave it to me. She said it was a gift." The young woman's face darkened. She shook her head slowly, her eyes narrowing. "It was not meant for you." Her words cut through him like a blade. He felt a cold wave run down his spine. "What do you mean?" "It was just food, wasn't it?" The woman stepped closer, her eyes fixed on his arms. "Show me your skin," she demanded. Daniel hesitated but pulled up his sleeve. The faint glowing lines appeared again, forming strange alien symbols that pulsed like veins of fire. The woman gasped and covered her mouth, her eyes wide. "It has already begun," she whispered. Daniel pulled his sleeve back down, fear rising in his chest. "What has begun? Tell me." The young woman looked around. Villagers were already gathering, whispering, pointing at them from a distance. She grabbed Daniel's wrist firmly, her grip surprisingly strong. "Not here. Come with me." She pulled him away from the well, through a narrow path between the houses and out toward the edge of the forest. Daniel followed, confused and desperate for answers. His body still burned with strange energy, and the marks under his skin glowed brighter with each step. When they reached a quiet clearing surrounded by tall, glowing trees, the woman stopped. She turned to him, her eyes filled with both anger and sorrow. "My name is Lyra," she said. "The woman you met is my grandmother. She should never have given you the cookie." Daniel crossed his arms, trying to stay calm. "Then why did she?" Lyra looked away, her silver hair catching the light. "Because she is old, and sometimes old ones believe in fate. She saw you, a traveler, a human, and thought perhaps you were worthy." "Worthy of what?" Daniel asked. His voice shook with frustration. Lyra's gaze returned to him, sharp and unblinking. "That was not food. It was a test, a trial. The cookie is made with power from the first flame, a source older than this world. Those who eat it either burn from within or awaken." Daniel's stomach twisted. "And which am I?" Lyra stepped closer, her face inches from his. "Look at your skin. Look at your eyes. You are awakening." Daniel staggered back, shaking his head. "I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this. I was just passing through." Lyra's voice softened, but her words stayed heavy. "That does not matter now. The cookie chose you, or perhaps fate did." Silence filled the clearing. The air was thick, the only sound the rustle of glowing leaves. Daniel felt his pulse racing, his body alive with fire and fear. Finally, he asked, "So what happens now?" Lyra's expression hardened. "Now you must survive. Because others will come. They will sense the power inside you. Some will want to test you. Some will want to kill you." Daniel clenched his fists. "And you? What do you want?" Lyra's lips curved into a faint, mysterious smile. "I want to see if you live long enough to learn the truth." Before Daniel could reply, the air shifted. A strange howl echoed from deep within the forest, low and haunting. Lyra's eyes snapped toward the sound. She pulled a curved blade from the strap at her side and placed a hand on Daniel's chest. "They already know," she said urgently. "The creatures will come for you tonight." "You're not safe here anymore." Daniel's heart pounded harder. "What kind of creatures?" Lyra's eyes locked on his. "The kind that feed on the power inside you. The kind that kill before you even see them." Her words sank deep into Daniel's mind. He realized in that moment that his life had changed forever. The cookie was no gift. It was a key, and he had opened a door that could never be shut again. And Lyra, the gorgeous granddaughter, was the only one who knew what lay beyond. The forest clearing grew quiet again after the howl faded into the distance. Daniel stood frozen, his chest rising and falling with sharp breaths. Lyra's blade still gleamed in her hand, its edge catching the faint light from the glowing trees. Her eyes searched the shadows, alert, cautious, as if danger could step out at any moment. Finally, Daniel broke the silence. His voice was low but heavy with frustration. "No more riddles, Lyra. Tell me the truth. What did your grandmother give me? What's happening to me?" Lyra lowered her blade but did not relax. She turned slowly toward him, her silver hair falling across her shoulders. Her expression was serious, almost sad. The cookie was not food. It was a fragment of something far older, a relic of the first flame. Long ago, our ancestors captured that fire, the spark of creation itself, and shaped it into trials for the chosen. Daniel blinked. "Trials, chosen? I'm not one of you. I'm human. Why give it to me?" Lyra's gaze softened, but her words stayed sharp. "Because the flame does not care what you are. It tests, it judges. Those who survive become marked. Look at your arms." Daniel pulled back his sleeve. The glowing symbols had returned, brighter now, flowing like liquid light beneath his skin. They pulsed with each beat of his heart. He clenched his fist, trying to ignore the fear rising in him. Lyra stepped closer, her voice lowering. "That mark means the flame has accepted you. It means you carry a piece of its power now. That is why the creatures will come." They can sense it. To them you are a beacon. Daniel's throat tightened. And if I hadn't eaten it? Then you would still be just a traveler, Lyra said, her eyes narrowing. But now you are something more. Or something less, depending on how long you live. Daniel turned away, running a hand through his hair. His heart hammered, his body still thrumming with strange energy. None of this made sense. He had wanted adventure, yes, but not this. Not to be hunted, not to carry power he didn't understand. He looked back at her, anger flashing in his eyes. So your grandmother knew this would happen? She knew I'd be hunted? Lyra hesitated, then gave a small nod. She believes in destiny. She sees signs where others see chaos. When she looked at you, she must have seen something. Daniel's voice rose. Something? She risked my life for a guess? Lyra did not answer. Instead, she lifted her chin and spoke with quiet firmness. Anger will not help you. You must decide if you will fight or run. The flame does not wait. The creatures will not wait. And fate will not wait. The forest shifted around them. A cold wind passed through, carrying with it faint whispers that Daniel could almost understand. His skin prickled, and he knew Lyra was right. Something was coming, something drawn to him. He stepped closer to her, his voice calmer but still heavy. Then teach me. If I'm marked, if I have this power, how do I control it? For the first time, Lyra's expression softened fully. Her eyes studied him, searching for doubt. Then she nodded slowly. Very well. I will show you. She sheathed her blade and held out her hands. Close your eyes, Daniel. Feel the fire inside you. The marks are not just scars. They are channels. The flame wants to move through you, but you must guide it. Daniel closed his eyes, uneasy but willing. He focused on the warmth in his chest, the pulsing energy in his arms. Slowly, the glow under his skin brightened, spreading across his body like living light. He gasped, the energy growing hotter, threatening to burn him from the inside. Control it. Lyra's voice cut through the fire. Do not fight it. Shape it. Daniel gritted his teeth, focusing harder. The energy slowed, steadied, until it hummed quietly beneath his skin. The glow dimmed, no longer wild but contained like a flame held in a lantern. When he opened his eyes, Lyra was watching closely. Her lips curved into a faint smile. Good, you learn quickly. Daniel wiped sweat from his forehead, breathing hard. It still feels dangerous, Lyra nodded. It is. The flame is not gentle. It can burn you if you lose control, but if you master it, you can do things no ordinary human could ever dream of. Daniel shook his head, still dazed. And if I fail? Lyra's smile faded. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Then the flame consumes you, and your story ends here. A heavy silence hung between them. Daniel's mind raced, torn between fear and determination. For the first time, he understood the truth. The cookie had not been a gift, it had been a trial. And the trial had only just begun. Before he could speak again, another howl echoed in the distance, closer this time, sharper, hungrier. The ground beneath them trembled as if something large was moving through the forest. Lyra drew her blade once more, her eyes flashing. They come sooner than I thought. She glanced at Daniel, her voice urgent. You have the power. Now you must use it. Daniel clenched his fists, feeling the flame stir inside him. His fear did not vanish, but something stronger rose to meet it. The creatures were coming, and the secrets were no longer hidden. The forest was no longer quiet. The low howl had grown into many howls, echoing from every direction. The sound was sharp, hungry, and unnatural, making the air tremble. Daniel felt the ground shake under his boots as if something large and heavy moved through the earth itself. Lyra stood firm, her silver hair glowing faintly in the moonlight, her blade ready in her hand. Her eyes darted from shadow to shadow. They are here, she whispered. The hunters of the flame. Daniel's heart pounded. Hunters? Lyra nodded, her face grim. Creatures born to track the flame. They smell it, they feed on it, and they never stop until it is gone. Daniel clenched his fists, feeling the strange fire pulsing inside him. His marks glowed again, bright and alive. He wanted to run, but his legs felt rooted to the ground. Fear and power mixed inside him, pulling him in two directions at once. From the trees, the first shadow leapt into sight. It was tall, twice the height of a man, with black skin that shimmered like oil. Its body was thin but strong, its arms ending in long claws. Its face was nothing but a mask of teeth and glowing red eyes. It moved on all fours, fast and silent, its gaze fixed on Daniel. Daniel stumbled back. The creature hissed, a sound that made the air vibrate. Then another one appeared, and another. Soon the clearing was surrounded by at least 6 of them, their eyes glowing, their bodies crawling closer. Lyra raised her blade. "Stay behind me," she ordered. But Daniel could feel the fire inside him building. His body was hot, his skin glowing with marks that pulsed brighter with every heartbeat. His instincts screamed at him to fight. The first creature lunged. Lyra spun like lightning, her blade slicing across its chest. The creature screamed, falling back, but 2 more replaced it instantly. Daniel ducked as claws sliced the air above his head. He rolled to the side, grabbing a branch from the ground and swinging it wildly. It broke against the creature's hide, useless. The monster roared and raised its claw again, then stopped. Daniel's body had reacted on its own. His hand glowed, fire bursting from his palm in a sudden wave. The creature shrieked as flames wrapped around it, burning deep into its skin. It staggered back, collapsing into ash. Daniel froze. He stared at his hand, still glowing, still hot, as smoke curled from his fingertips. Lyra glanced at him, her voice sharp but approving. "Good, do not fear it, use it." But Daniel's chest tightened. "I didn't mean to." "Then learn to mean it," Lyra shouted, blocking another strike with her blade. Sparks flew as claw met steel. "If you hesitate, they will tear you apart." The creatures circled, their eyes locked on Daniel. They no longer saw him as prey. They saw him as food, blazing with the power they craved. Their movements grew faster, their roars louder. Daniel closed his eyes, trying to remember Lyra's words. "Do not fight the flame. Shape it." He reached inside himself, feeling the fire spread through his chest, arms, and legs. The marks on his skin lit up, covering him in a web of glowing light. The power surged, wild and dangerous, but this time he did not let it control him. He guided it. When he opened his eyes, the nearest creature lunged. Daniel raised his hand and pushed forward. A wave of fire exploded outward, slamming into 3 monsters at once. They shrieked, stumbling back into the trees. The flames licked the ground but did not burn him. The fire obeyed. For the first time, Daniel felt not just fear but strength. Lyra smiled faintly even as she fought another beast. "Yes, that is the flame. Now fight like you mean to live." Daniel roared, charging forward with the fire still burning in his hands. He struck one creature in the chest, the fire blasting through it. The beast crumbled to dust. Another slashed at his arm, cutting deep, but the wound closed instantly, sealed by glowing light. The creatures hesitated. For the first time they seemed unsure. Daniel panted, sweat dripping down his face, his body alive with fire and fury. "I can't hold it forever," he muttered. Lyra nodded, her blade dripping with black ash. "You don't have to. Just survive tonight." The remaining beasts shrieked and lunged together in a final attack. Daniel raised both hands, the flame surging higher than ever before. A storm of fire burst from his body, surrounding the clearing in a burning wall. The creatures screamed, trapped, consumed by the light until nothing but ash remained. Silence fell. The fire dimmed, fading back into his skin. Daniel dropped to his knees, exhausted, gasping for breath. His hands shook, still warm with power. Lyra lowered her blade and approached him. Her voice was calm but heavy. "Now you understand. This is what you are, marked by the flame, hunted by those who want it, chosen by accident or by fate." Daniel looked up at her, his eyes wide with fear and wonder. "I didn't ask for this," he whispered. Lyra met his gaze, her expression unreadable. "No one ever does." The forest was quiet again, but the tension had not faded. Daniel knew this was only the beginning. The creatures would return. More would come. And the power inside him would only grow stronger. And deep down he feared one truth most of all. What if the greatest danger was not the monsters outside, but the fire burning inside him? The clearing was still, but the air felt heavy with smoke and silence. Ash drifted across the ground where the creatures had fallen. Daniel sat on his knees, his chest heaving, sweat dripping from his face. The glow in his skin had faded, but the fire inside him had not. It lingered, restless, waiting to rise again. Lyra stood a few steps away, her silver blade lowered, her eyes sharp as she studied him. For a long time she said nothing. Then she spoke, her voice calm but firm. "Now you see what it means to be marked." Daniel looked up, his breath uneven. "What are they?" "Those things that came after me? Hunters of the flame," Lyra answered. "They are drawn to its light. When you lit the fire inside you, they smelled it. They always come. It is their purpose." Daniel clenched his fists. "And I destroyed them." "But more will come, won't they?" Lyra nodded slowly. Always. The stronger the flame grows in you, the louder it calls to those who seek it. Tonight was only the beginning. Daniel groaned and sat back, running his hands through his hair. Why me? Why did your grandmother give me that cursed thing? Why not someone else? Why not you? For the first time, Lyra's face changed. She looked away, her silver hair covering part of her expression. Her voice softened, carrying weight. Because it was not her choice. It was the flames. Daniel frowned. What do you mean? Lyra turned back, her glowing eyes locking with his. Listen carefully. The cookie you ate was no simple treat. It was a shard of the first flame, a fragment of power taken from the heart of the stars. Long ago, our people believed the flame was a gift from the beginning of creation itself. It could create life, or destroy it, but it needed a vessel. Not everyone could hold it. Many tried, many died. Daniel felt his throat tighten. And I survived, Lyra nodded. Yes, that is why the marks appeared. You did not burn. You awakened. That means the flame has chosen you as its carrier. You are now a vessel of its power. Daniel shook his head, anger flashing in his eyes. I don't want to be a vessel. I never asked for this. I just wanted to pass through this place and move on. Lyra's expression hardened. It does not matter what you want. The flame has no mercy. Once you accept it, you are forever changed. You cannot go back. Daniel stood, his body trembling with frustration. Then what? What am I supposed to do now? Keep running from monsters until they tear me apart? Lyra's voice was steady. No, you must learn to master it. If you fail, it will consume you from within. If you succeed, you may hold a power greater than any human before you. Daniel stared at her, his chest tight. Why do I feel like you're not telling me everything? Lyra was silent for a long moment. Her eyes softened, but her lips trembled before she finally spoke. Because there is more. The flame is not only a gift, it is also a key. Daniel blinked. A key to what? Lyra's gaze shifted to the dark forest beyond. Her voice dropped to a whisper. To the gate of origin, a door hidden deep within this world. It is said that whoever carries the flame can open it. And beyond the gate lies knowledge and power beyond imagination. Daniel's stomach sank. So this isn't just about me. This is about something bigger, Lyra nodded. Much bigger. My grandmother believed you were not chosen by chance. She saw something in you, something human. She believes humanity itself has a role in this. That is why she gave you the shard. Daniel staggered back, shaking his head. So I'm nothing but a piece in some alien game. You used me. Lyra stepped forward, her voice sharp now. No, you were chosen. And whether you accept it or not, the gate will call to you. The flame inside you will guide you toward it. That is the truth. Daniel clenched his fists, his heart racing. The thought of being tied to something so huge, so dangerous, filled him with both fear and anger. He wanted to refuse, to throw the power away, but he could feel it inside him. Alive. Unshakable. Lyra placed her blade back in its sheath and stepped closer. Her eyes were softer now, her voice quieter. I know this is not what you wanted. I know it feels like a curse. But you have a choice, Daniel. You can run from it, or you can face it. If you face it, I will stand with you. If you run, the flame will burn you until nothing remains. Silence hung between them. Daniel's chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. He looked at her calm but serious face, at the faint sadness in her glowing eyes. Finally he spoke, his voice low. I don't trust your grandmother. I don't trust this flame, and I don't trust fate. He paused, clenching his jaw. But I know one thing. I'm not going to die running. Lyra's lips curved into the faintest smile. Good. Then we begin tomorrow. You must learn control, or the flame will take more than your fear. It will take your soul. The night deepened around them. Far in the distance, another howl echoed, softer this time, but still haunting. Daniel looked toward the dark forest, the weight of his new destiny pressing on his shoulders. The cookie had not been a gift. It had been a key. And now the lock it opened was waiting for him. The next day dawned heavy and strange. The alien sky burned orange, the twin suns climbing slowly above the horizon. Daniel stood on a cliff overlooking the forest, his pack slung across his back, the marks glowing faintly beneath his skin. Lyra stood beside him, her silver hair shimmering in the light, her blade strapped to her side. They had walked for hours in silence. Neither spoke much, for both knew what awaited them. At the edge of the world lay the gate of origin, the place Lyra had spoken of the night before. It called to Daniel now, a pull in his chest, a whisper in his mind. The closer they walked, the louder it grew. Finally, Daniel broke the silence. His voice was low, heavy with unease. If I open this gate, what happens? Lyra's eyes stayed on the horizon. No one knows for certain. Some say the flame will burn brighter than ever. Others say the gate hides truths that can destroy whole worlds. What lies beyond has never been seen by living eyes. Daniel swallowed hard. And if I refuse? Lyra turned to him at last, her gaze sharp. Then the flame will tear you apart. It cannot be ignored. It must be faced, her words echoed in his mind. He clenched his fists, feeling the fire flicker inside him. His life was no longer his own. He was marked, chosen, or cursed. By the time they reached the valley, the world had grown quiet. The air was still, the birds gone, the forest silent. At the center of the valley rose a massive stone arch, taller than any building Daniel had ever seen. Its surface was carved with ancient symbols, glowing faintly, pulsing in rhythm with the fire inside him. The Gate of Origin. Daniel stopped, his breath caught in his throat. The arch seemed alive, watching him, waiting. Lyra stepped closer to him, her voice steady. This is it. The final test. You must choose open the gate or turn away and let the flame consume you. Daniel's chest tightened. And what about you? Where do you stand in this? Lyra's eyes softened, but she did not smile. I stand with you, Daniel, but I cannot make the choice for you. The gate will only open for the one who carries the flame. The ground rumbled beneath them. A roar shook the valley, louder than any before. From the shadows of the cliffs, the creatures appeared, dozens of them, their glowing red eyes fixed on Daniel. Their claws scraped the earth, their bodies twisted and hungry. Lyra drew her blade. They know what you carry. They want it for themselves. You must decide now. Daniel's body burned. The marks across his skin blazed brighter than ever, covering him in a web of fire. The flame inside him surged, begging to be released. His heart thundered as the creatures charged. For a moment, fear gripped him. He wanted to run, to throw the flame away, to forget all of this. But then he remembered the old woman's eyes, the villagers' fear, the monster's hunger, and Lyra's unshakable faith. He realized he had already made his choice. He stepped forward, raising his hands. The flame burst from him brighter than the sun, a storm of fire that swept across the valley. The creatures shrieked, burning, turning to ash before they could reach him. The ground trembled, the arch of the gate glowing brighter, answering his power. Lyra shielded her eyes from the light. Daniel, now! The gate is open to you! Daniel turned toward the arch. The symbols blazed, the air humming with energy. He felt the flame inside him connect to it, as though the gate and his soul were one. His steps were slow but steady as he walked toward the arch. Every step filled him with fire. Every breath carried whispers of countless voices, ancient and endless. The flame spoke to him, showing him visions, worlds beyond his own, battles fought across stars, humans standing proud against alien empires. He saw triumphs, he saw destruction, and he saw himself at the center of it all. Daniel stopped at the threshold. His heart pounded, his body alive with energy. This was it, the final choice. Step through and embrace what lay beyond, or step back and let the flame destroy him. He looked at Lyra one last time. She met his gaze, her eyes glowing with both fear and hope. Whatever you see, remember who you are, she whispered. Daniel nodded. Then, with fire blazing through his veins and courage burning in his chest, he stepped through the gate. Light swallowed him. The valley vanished. The world was gone, and Daniel's story, his true story, was only beginning.